wildlings. I wanted to hop on here and kind of talk about how autism affects my life and how waking up to the idea that I have autism and learning how my brain actually works allowed me to truly become who I am, as opposed to this person that I thought society needed me to be because that's what I was told I was supposed to be my entire life. And when you start to accept that this is how your brain works and that you may have some disabilities, and I have a lot of them, and I will tell you one thing. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. One of the things that I was told my entire life was your disabilities do not make you disabled. You are high functioning. You can do this. You are capable. You are smart. You are all of these things. And then on the other side, I was being told I was stupid and I was too emotional and I was too much. I was too intense. So when you get these conflicting messages, you become incredibly hypervigilant and you go into every single situation with your ears open, your eyes open, and you're going, how should I behave right now? What should I be like? Because if I'm too much like myself, I get told I'm bad. And if I'm too much like everybody else, I'm told I'm copying. And if I'm too much like myself, I'm too much. So then you live your life and you go through your life doing this dance of where do I fit in? And then you become an insane people pleaser because all you're doing is seeking out new experiences because you're searching for dopamine. And when people give you praise, you're getting excited and feeling autistic joy. So then you sit in that place where people tell you that you're doing good and that this is where you belong. Even though your body may be screaming inside, no, this is not good for me. No, I shouldn't be doing this. No, oh my God, my body is dying and I just want to go to sleep. But then the world needs you to work and the world needs you to be that thing that they told you they needed you to be. And then you almost kill yourself being that thing. And that's what I did, wildlings. I almost killed myself because the world didn't think that who I was good enough. And then when I actually showed up at as who I was, the world told me I was too much. So then I just became somebody that I didn't even know. And then when you learn how your brain works and you learn what autistic joy feels like, and you learn what dopamine hunting is, and you know how to do it healthfully, oh my God, your life changes. Good morning, cranes. The whooping cranes just flew by. Oh my God. So this has happened so many times. And if they come back around because I said hello to them, okay, if you don't know, I said this to my husband, whooping cranes are very rare. In 2017, there was only 40 in Canada. And now that's the second time in a week that I've seen the whooping cranes fly by. And I'm starting to realize that the more that I sit in my energy, the more that I sit in my truth as a forest whisperer and a weaver of the universal web, that my property attracts amazing things. And we have had breeding pairs of bald eagles. We have had breeding pairs of whooping cranes. We have had breeding pairs of ravens. We have had breeding pairs of green herons. We have had crazy multiple breeding pairs of wrens. The robins, I just drove up here this morning. They were everywhere. This is what everybody talks about when you shift your vibration to be truly who you were meant to be. That is what everybody in spirituality is talking about. When you realize how your brain works and how your body responds to how your brain thinks, and then you learn how to process those feelings in your body, the spirituality and the abundance just shows up. The connections just show up because you're truly, and I've preached authenticity my whole life. I think that's why this is all just so kind of perfect, because even when I thought I was autistic, or even when I thought I was being authentic, I wasn't, because I was denying myself my autistic self. I was denying myself all the color. I was denying myself my wild that was inside of me. And when I finally accepted the wild, which is my autism and which is my ability to talk to trees and animals and all of those things, and I stopped trying to people please and be a pleaser of humans, I'm supposed to be a pleaser of nature. I'm supposed to be a channeler of nature. My mistake was I was never supposed to channel human energy. I'm just supposed to feel it. I'm just supposed to feel it and go, okay, I see you. I see you're wounded. I see you've got some things. Let me help you see this energy that is abundant and limitless. And let me help you connect with that so you can shift your own energy, so you can see the truth in the universe. And I've always known that I was a catalyst. I have always known that when people bumped into my energy, something happened. I just didn't actually see all the connections before. And sitting in ritual last week for 8 days and my family participating and what that called in and what that changed in my life, I'm still unraveling and my brain is still absorbing it. But I cannot tell you how easy it feels, how simple it is when you see all of those connections. And it's way simpler than you think. And my little Tetris seeing the universal web pattern recognition brain has finally been activated. Like, I finally realized what this brain has the capabilities of doing and how I can actually use it in the world and how I can help other people use their natural gifts to see all the beauty and then be the beauty, because that's truly what we're supposed to be here to do. We're supposed to see the beauty in nature, see the simplicity in nature, and then reflect that back. So how can you simplify your life? How can you find your true self? And how can you just bring that into your everyday and it not feel overwhelming, because it's actually just being you? So we're going to find your wild just the same way I found my wild and finally embraced who I am. And when I did, holy shit, wildlings, these connections that are happening and these co-creations that are happening in my life have just changed the way that I see everything. And I'm ready to share. I'm ready to start sharing how this works. So be prepared. I've got to figure out how to get this podcast going, and I've got to figure out how to share this wisdom. I channeled it for the last 7 days. I know exactly what I need to tell you. So today is day 1 of me sharing my tistastic self with the world, of really truly understanding. And when I listen to the whispers, I can find everything that brings me joy, and I'll be able to share it in ways that is so easy. So please join the Sacred Grove. Come to my community. There is a link in the bio. There are amazing people hanging out, having amazing conversations, and it is divergent friendly. There is not a ton of advertising. There is no news. There's just happiness in there, man. I've learned, there we go, because of you, I started collecting and making my own natural incense, and I feel calmer. Yes. Finding ways to connect with the earth. And my incense is one of them. And I think that's probably one of the classes that I'm going to teach is, thank you for reminding me of that, Lady Knits, that was truly how one of my connections started with the forest, is I started asking for medicines from my own forest. So yes, and that connection and that grounding and that understanding of what these things can bring for us is so important. And the peace that it can bring to our bodies when we just slow down and realize that everything we ever needed was right outside our front doors. The pine trees provide us with resin, and the cedar trees provide us with resin. They also provide us with their green boughs, and those can be dried and made into incense. Incense. Yes, the Thor. I've actually been making more Thor, and I made a new blend that was completely, it's magic. The Thor one is amazing, and I will tell you, I've been using the Thor one to call in strength and to call in power. Good morning! My green herons are just flying by. I love it when they come and see me. Everything flies right by my porch, so I have all these breeding pairs, and in the morning they go out to collect food for their children, and in the evening they come back, and they're constantly flying back and forth, but they fly by and they honk at me and they make all these amazing noises, and sometimes they circle the house and come back and say hello, and I know it's because I finally tuned into my energy, my true energy. And I finally connected to the energy on this land in such a deep way that this is now a beacon to all of my kin in nature, that this is a safe place. This is where you can come to heal and to raise your children and to learn that the land is abundance. It has abundance for us all. We just have to learn how to co-create with nature. And when we do, nature shows up for us in ways that we cannot understand. Because the more that I start offering to the land, and the more that I connect with the land and give myself the peace that I need, the land is actually offering me the medicines that I need. So there's been motherwort, and there has been tons of mullein this year. And I've been smoking mullein, and stuff that is coming out of my lungs is helping me heal. Because if you don't know, grief is held in your lungs. And if you have grieved unknowingly for the loss of something, whether it's the loss of your childhood, whether it's a loss of a parent, whether it's a loss of an animal, whether it any kind of loss, we hold that in our lungs. And when we use the medicines that the land is offering us, and when we sit with the fire, with those medicines, and the smoke washes over us, and we're coughing for days. And when we're coughing, like I am coughing, like you don't want to see it, but I am coughing up some pretty nasty stuff. And it's all just been sitting in my lungs because I'm grieving. Just like the trauma that was in my joints and in my muscles, as I work through that trauma, as I work through it all with therapy, I can literally feel the tension leaving my body. I'm in a much calmer place. My body is happy. I can feel when something is in my body and I feel ill and I don't feel great. And then I sit with my medicines and I ask, what do I need to do? And then they show me what I need to do. I either need to be walking more, or I need to be working out, or I need to be drinking more water, or I need to be hydrating more. Every time, I sit with my medicines and I wake up in the morning with my medicine. And I choose medicines that are specific for my needs. So I use CBN, and I use CBC, and I use a little bit of THC, and I use CBD. But it is in that combination for me that is perfect, that brought my brain into alignment, that allowed me to see all the connections and to see the truth in front of me. If I hadn't started using my sacred medicines in an intentional way, sharing tobacco with my land and sharing cedar with my land and sharing cannabis with my land and sharing honey with my land, and then the land shares with me the medicines that I need. And then I sit with those medicines, and I sat with mugwort a lot this week, and it gave me visions of what is coming. And we can see all of these things when we find peace in our bodies, when we understand our minds and the pain that's within our bodies. And our bodies hold a lot. And if you have been following my journey, and if you knew me as the Barefoot Medium, you know physically I have changed a lot. I think now it's over 120 pounds that I've lost, and I've gained so much muscle. My legs have never looked this good. But it's because when I sit with my medicine, I get whispers of, today's the day for CBN. Today's the day to microdose. Today's the day that you stop drinking coffee. Today's the day that you need to go and get some more hydration powders. Today's the day that you need to go and find some turmeric powder. Every single time that I listen to my body and that I listen to those whispers, whether it's from my kin in nature, whether it's from my own body, whether it's from the plants growing on my property, but when I get really, really quiet and I listen to those whispers, all of the answers are right in front of me. But we have to get out of our own ways and realize that it's not us that has the wisdom. It's not us. I'm not, I got brains. I'm autistic. I got some pretty crazy cognitive stuff, but I've also got some crazy weaknesses, right? Like I have no memory. How do you live in a brain that has no working memory? Like I don't remember day-to-day things. But I can tell you that my brain has bufotamine in it, and I think that's how you say it. And that is the same drug that is in DMT. And when I allow myself to use CBD and CBN, I can't do CBG. CBG makes my body crazy. But then when I add in a microdose of psilocybin, it is healing my brain. And I am able to do things and accomplish things that I have never been able to do before. And I'm being called to collaborate and work with scientists. I'm being called to work and collaborate with people that are actually working with these medicines in like serious ways, like making big changes in the world. Because I know through my own experience as an autistic individual, what these medicines have done for me and my brain, and how I've truly been able to tap into what I was put here to do. And that when I finally hit that magic combination, like Lady Knit says, hers is CBD, CBN, and CBG. And here's the thing, it will change. I've learned that you start out using a certain amount of a certain medicine, and that will work for a certain amount of time. My Vyvanse gave me enough to regulate my brain. So I used Vyvanse because I have ADHD extreme combined. So I am inattentive and I am hyperactive. When you have no memory and you are inattentive and you are hyperactive and you have autism, how tall am I? I'm 5'7". What does that have to do with anything? But when you find the combination that works for you, that helps your brain, it is magic. And I am now sitting in this space where I know how to take care of my family. I know how to organize my house so we can have a good day, because my partner, the lumberjack, needs certain things in the morning. We are all autistic, just so you know. The lumberjack is coming to terms with that. He's starting to accept it. My kid has the diagnosis. He's autistic and ADHD. I'm autistic and ADHD. And I believe my son or my husband is also both. And we need to be incredibly organized, but we also need room to have some fun. So we need to be spontaneous and have joy and be silly every once in a while, but we need to be really organized. And we also have rigid thinking. So it's a fucking nightmare. But we are lucky because all three of us have the exact same brain. So when I realized that, and when I started regulating all of our nervous systems, and when I started feeding us the food that we actually needed to eat and got rid of the food that was really bad for us, our lives really started to change. My husband and I have cut out caffeine. We're still drinking tea because I do love tea. We've cut out caffeine. We've cut out alcohol. We've cut out everything else, my husband doesn't really partake in anything that I partake in, but we are living a much cleaner life. Now, I eat chips, I eat chocolate. Frig, I went to a Danish bakery yesterday and we devoured $40 worth of sweets and stuff, and it was amazing. Hi, everybody. But I paid for it last night. I had crazy hot flashes and I had to pretty much sleep naked on my cooling mattress and my cooling pillow and just be like, but it was really good pastry. So now I know how to play the game within my body. And what I want to do is teach you how to play the game in your body so you can experience the joy of life again, and so you can start have fun again, and you can actually start enjoying your life and being happy. Because I lived for 8 years pretty much absolutely friggin' miserable because I didn't understand how my brain worked and I didn't know what my body needed. And now I know. I know what my body needs. I know what my brain needs. I know all of the things, but it took me discovering that I had autism to know it all. And then when I finally went deep into my gifts as a human being on this planet, I was able to see all of the connections that led me here. And I want to help you see that too. I want to help you see that universal web that connects all the things. And that's what my autistic brain does. That's what my magic intuitive brain does. It connects all the things. It connects the science. It connects the magic. It connects the joy. It connects the shadow. It sees the light and it sees the dark. But my brain always knew that both of those things were important. That the shadow was just as important as the light. And that when you balance those things in your body, the shadow and the light and the joy and the happiness, that it just gets a heck of a lot easier. And then you can hop on the web that you created. You built that web. You built your own safety net. You invoked all of these things for yourself. You just weren't ready, or you didn't have the right tools. And if you're ready, or even if you're not ready, even if you just want to know what the tools are, and then maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, when you're in the right place, you can come back and you can go, yeah, it was simple the way that Emma said it was simple. It is really easy once I start looking at those things that are bugging me, that are triggering me. And if I actually go and look at what those things are, and I start to heal the things that trigger me, and I start to heal the things that I have a hard time coming back from, then it gets really easy. So, if you haven't joined the Sacred Grove, go join the Sacred Grove. If you aren't following me, because I'm going to tell you, some stuff is coming. I've got some information to share with you that may change your life, and I'm so ready to do that. So, I'm putting it together. I'm gathering some people. There's going to be some events, there's going to be some teachings, there's going to be some books, but I'm ready. I have all the tools. I have everything I need. So now I'm going to help you find the things you need to get to the place where you need to get. Come along, wildlings. Let's go be wild because it's way more fun. Go be wild.